Next thing, while I still have my soft sky out, I want to get a little bit of ink in the lid and do a little watercolor to make that pretty sky blue background. So I'm going to squeeze to get a little bit more ink on the bottom. And there I have the perfect ink to use for my card. So let me show you what that's going to look like. I'm just using sky on the large section. I'm not putting sky on the flap. You can if you want. I just chose not to. And I'm using an aqua painter, and I'm looking for my card so I can show you what we're doing here. We are putting that blue sky in with the aqua painter. Very quick and easy. I'm going to go swish, swish, swish. Get a little ink. Now test it out. I like to make sure I'm getting the color I think I am. And I'm going to open it up flat and then just swish from the ocean all the way up to the top of the card. If you want to add a little drop of water, thin your color out just a little bit, that will work too. Trying not to get it too wet so that I can stamp on top of it without having to wait very long. Okay, I'm happy with that. See, it's just a messy sky with a few brush strokes, and that's all there is to watercoloring that sky. The next step, I want to go back and put some birds on the sand, but I'm using chocolate chip to make a little brown, some little brown birds on the beach. When you're inking it up, let me scoot over so you can watch. I'm going to tap, 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 tap. You don't want to squeeze down hard. And I'm just going to put my little birds right there on the left. Perfect. That works. The next step, I've got more birds to do, and these birds are going to be in the sky. And I'm going to use smoky slate. And then here is the actual stamp for those birds. It's really pretty and it's really elegant. And I'm going to stamp those birds. If your watercolor is still really, really wet, you want to give it a little time to dry. I'm going to put just a little bit, I've got Minion paper towels. Are you not impressed? My grandchildren would be. I'm going to make sure that that's not too wet because I don't want the ink to bleed. And I'm going to add my smoky slate birds. And let me get the original to show you. See how they're on the card? Make sure they're on the right hand side so you have room for your sentiment. And then I also stamped some on the lighthouse section. Now, don't get real worried about it. It's not going to be perfect. I do try to get them right side up. That does make a difference. So I'm going to stamp birds. Let's see what we got. Perfect. That'll work. And let me get a little bit more ink on there and do some on the small flap. And if you're really good, you can match them up. So when it closes, it's perfect. I'm not that good. I've had some ladies do that. What I just try to do is maybe get between a couple of birds and make sure you're high enough so they're not flying into your lighthouse. There we go. Let's see how that works. That's not bad. So when I close it, it looks like that. Not too bad. If you really want to get fancy, you could go in and grab another bird there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm good. All right, now we need some grass. Got to have a little bit of seagrass there on the beach, and there are two stamps that work for grass. One that has a couple of different sprigs on it, and then the other is just one little bush of grass. So let's see what we got here. Grass goes here. This is the big one, and I'm just gonna play until I get what I want. I didn't have enough ink on there. Let's see, maybe right here. Yeah, looks good. Maybe one on the corner. And I think I'll I'll put one over here where the lighthouse is going to go. Okay, and then I'm going to do my little one, and you can come back after you put your lighthouse in and add another one if you want to that's a little closer to your lighthouse. There's another one, maybe one here, and a couple more. Remember, I'm tapping. Since this is going to be a standalone card, I want this side to stand alone is what I meant. I'm going to add some more grass. It gives that a little more color. And one right by the bird. Okay, we have grass on the beach now. All right, we are in pretty good shape. I'm missing a lighthouse and I'm missing the sentiment. And I think it's dry enough I can go ahead and do my sentiment. So let me do that right now. I'm going back to my Marina Mist ink. And the sentiment I chose is there's nothing little about the light you shine. So I'm going to make sure I've got that inked up pretty good. Now this you don't want to mess up on because you've already worked so hard. You really don't want to mess your sentiment up. And I'm going to go straight down and up because I notice I have a few little specks of ink on the outside of my stamp. So you can either clean that off or just make sure if you go straight down and up, you'll be fine. And there's my sentiment. All I've got to do now is the lighthouse. So let me show you how that works. The lighthouse is a two-step process. It has, was in Sahara sand, and then I used this one in real red. So there's two different stamps, and you stamp one on top of the other. I did the Sahara sand first, and then the real red. Let me switch my inks and we'll get ready for that. So here's the piece of paper that I cut off when I cut my card out. And so I'll use that for my lighthouse. And here's the first one. You don't have to worry about cleaning off the edges of your stamp because you're going to be cutting your lighthouse out. So anything that's not where it needs to be is going to be cut off. Okay, make sure I get a good stamp on that. Looks pretty good. I'm going to do one more just while I'm have it out in case I mess up. Then I'll already have one stamped to work on. So I'll do another one right beside there as a backup if I need it. And they both came out pretty well. Next step is the red lighthouse. So here's my stamp. If you're using real red, it will stain your photopolymer stamps. It doesn't change the way they work. But this was a very juicy red, and so I have a nice pink stamp now, but it is already cleaned. I'm going to tap. Okay, I think I've got it covered good. Now this one you need to get right on top of it. I'm not at a perfect angle. I match up that little spire at the top and the bottom of the lighthouse. And since I'm not straight up, we'll see how close I get. Not bad. I'm happy with that. I will use that one. I could have scooted over just a tiny bit, but I think it looks fine. Okay, I've cut my lighthouse out, just right close to the edges where the stamping is. And I want to show you what I'm going to be using to attach it. This is called a foam strip. They look like this, foam adhesive strips. You get 40 strips in a package, and it makes it great for doing long straight pieces that need some foam rather than using the foam dots. So I've already pulled it off. When I'm looking at my lighthouse, I want to put the foam strip on the left-hand side at the back. If I'm looking at the back of the lighthouse, foam strip is on the left-hand side. And I simply am going to close my card and then position my lighthouse so that it kind of looks like it's on both shores, right next to my birds, and make it, you want it straight. And that's it. You got it there. Now, be sure you wash your hands. You see how I've got blue ink on my hand and I got a little on my card. So I'll be adding a bird or some more grass there. Not a problem, we'll cover it up. But that makes my beautiful 2-in-1 card, and it's pretty closed with the double sides, or tuck the lighthouse on the inside and you have a complete card, perfect for giving, just like that. Thanks for joining me. My name is Lynda Falconer. My blog is at www.crafterinspired.com. So please check out the blog for a list of supplies, the measurements, and some specials. You can actually get free stamp sets from me. So check it out, and thanks again for coming.